What's going on, Ravens fans? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. It is Wednesday evening. You know what that means. We got an hour and a half of unbelievable Ravens coverage for each and every single one of you guys. So happy you have joined us. First up on tonight's show, is Jesse Minter going to be a Raven soon? In my opinion, there's a decent chance that this thing becomes official while we are still live for our show. Don't worry. If it does, we've got everything covered. We are ready to roll if that is the case. But that's something to keep an eye on over the next hour and a half. Honestly, the next rest of this day. Don't know when the news is going to come. If it does, could be now, could be in an hour, could be in 5 hours, okay? We saw Robert Saleh get hired, what was that, 11 Central Time after midnight on the East Coast? So that could happen at any second. Mel Kiper's latest mock draft. Mel Kiper and Field Yates, both of them, put out mocks. We're going to react to both of their picks for the Baltimore Ravens at number 14. And then we're going to round things out with our live Ravens mailbags, your questions, my answers, right here on today's show. And before that, we get into the questions. I'm going to rank my head coach interview candidates from number 14 all the way up to number 1. I do want to hear what you guys say, though, okay? First off, so happy you're hanging out with us, all almost 200 of you. Make sure you like the video. First off, though, I would feel blank if the Ravens hired Jesse Minter. Let me know your answer in the comments section down below. Gage, how would you answer this question? I would feel blank if the Ravens hired Jesse Minter.
So I would feel very excited for the Ravens going into 2026 if they hired Jesse Minter. I know there's a lot of question marks about him not having much good ties with offensive coordinators, but I think the most important part is to make sure your defense is clicking on all cylinders. And I feel like with a guy like Jesse Minter with his track record, I think that he can get the job done. So I would say excited for the Baltimore Ravens season next year.
I'd feel solid if the Ravens hired Jesse Minter. That's true. Interesting answers. Someone said disappointed. Someone said, I don't want Jesse Minter. I would feel disappointed. That was Talking Sports. BRYT said good. Taylor said great. Stink the Gooch Goblin said, I'd rather wait for Kubiak. Tag TV says disappointed. Yekal says Lisa says not happy. Liam says okay. Daniel says boring. Raven says hopeful. Michael says satisfied. Dylan says happy. Scott says conflicted. Occupy says curious. Jigman says solid. Arflock says mid. DJ says all right. JK Mosh says, I sure hope it's not Jesse Minter. Sean says Kubiak or Flores. Brian Flores was my number one in this whole coaching search. You knew that. I did not hide that whatsoever, 1 ounce. But Jesse Minter's always been in my top 5, okay? I'm not going to be mad if they hire somebody in my top 5 because I still think that he would do really good things with the Baltimore Ravens. I think he'd bring a really, really strong and an aggressive defense. And I think that while it might be safe, like Daniel says, I do still believe that it would be something that would yield really solid results if he was able to hire a good offense coordinator as well. We'll get to Daniel's super chat in a second. Real quick, though. If not Minter, who do you think the Ravens are going to hire? Or even if it is Minter, let me know down below. It's feeling like at this point it's going to be Jesse Minter. But I want to hear what you guys are going to say for me. Take a guess down below. Who do you think the Ravens are going to hire? Minter's my 3. So of the guys available, here's my list. Flores, Kubiak, and then probably Minter at 3.
Yeah, I feel like they struck out.
I'd rather have Minter over Weaver.
Yes.
I'd rather have Minter, I think, over Shula. I would have had Robert Saleh as my number 2, but Robert Saleh's gone. And so
that was my number 1 with Saleh.
I think number 1 is Flores. Number 2 is Kubiak. Number 3 is Minter. Raven says, hey, Joey, how are you? I want Klint Kubiak from the Seahawks, but I won't be disappointed, though, Jesse Minter. I would love to hire, but KK is my main choice. Still, I'll be excited either way. It's not bad. If not Minter, then Kubiak. A lot of people think of Kubiak. One of the things we're talking about here is all the marketplace, platforms. They are leaning heavily into Jesse Minter. We'll tell you more about that in a second. Daniel Miles says, just seems a little safe, Joey, in my opinion. You're not wrong. That opinion is not incorrect. It is a safe hire, but at the same time, it's not a bad safe hire. There's a difference in a boring and uninspiring and a safe hire that doesn't have that high of a ceiling. This feels different to me. It's safe, it's comfortable, but it's still a guy that was getting some love around the league. Weaver's grown on me in the past few days, thanks to Joey. You're welcome. I believe that Weaver would be fun. I believe that Weaver would coach with intensity. I read you that quote the other day that says everything can be solved with violence. That's what Anthony Weaver said. But I believe that Jesse Minter's a better defensive mind than Weaver is. And I think the results speak for themselves. You can't tell me that the Chargers had far and away better personnel than the Dolphins did this last year. I'm sorry, you just can't. I don't believe it.
Look what we did with Owe, Adafe Owe.
Exactly.
And that's a perfect example.
Unbelievable stuff he was able to do with Adafe Owe. Okay, Gage, what's next? Oh, yeah. Get your questions in, ladies and gentlemen. Use those hashtag Ravens down below in the comment section. I'm still Zeno. Ask us if I've made a mock draft yet. No, I haven't. I'll do that for the first time when we hire a head coach. But right now, there's just too much daily news on this head coach search that I would be silly to not talk head coach, if you get what I'm saying. When was the first time we did a mock draft last year? Let me see what day it was. Yeah, I'm trying. Oh, let's see if I can remember who we picked first in my first mock draft. Probably not. Okay. Let's see. Okay, there's playoffs. Playoffs is over. Okay. Let's see. Playoffs over. When's the first time I mock draft? Not yet. Oh, and then we got into the freaking Justin Tucker stuff.
The draft is in April, by the way, Linjin. I don't know what the exact dates are for the draft. I don't know if you know that or not, Joey, but someone's asking when the draft is.
April 23rd through 25th.
Okay, April 23rd to 25th.
So I talked about mock drafts, other people's, but I didn't do my own first one until Feb 16. That's gonna be different this year. I'll do my first mock draft a little earlier this year. I picked. Let's see, who did I pick? Jahdae Barron. Number 1. That's not bad. That's really not bad. Gage, one of these days, I'm gonna let you do one of the mock drafts, okay? Yeah, I picked Jahdae Barron, number 1. I picked Jared Ivey second, which might not have been that good of a pick. Who was my final haul? Trey Harris, Chase Lunt, Tyler Batty, O'Donnell Fute. Yeah, it wasn't great. It wasn't terrible. What's going on, Christian Malley? What if someone becomes head coach of the Ravens that you didn't have on your list? That's a good question. I think I'd be pretty upset. Yeah, I'd be pretty upset. I mean, if they're outside of my top 10, I'd be really upset about it. If they're outside of my top 5, then I think it's fine. It's doable. Hey, are you guys ready for this head coach to be announced? If you are, hit that thumbs up button and like today's video. It has been, 15 days, Gage, since John Harbaugh got fired?
It's like watching paint dry right now. We're seeing everybody else get their head coaches, and we're still figuring out when ours comes in. So it's been a while.
So who's been done? Atlanta's done?
Titans.
Titans are done?
Giants.
Giants are done? Is that it?
I feel like there's one more.
What we still have open is Browns, Cardinals, Raiders, Bills, Steelers. Ours. Dolphins hired theirs.
Dolphins, yes. Yeah, that's the other one. They,
So, yeah, about 40% have hired theirs, which is a decent bit.
some of them are. I mean, I feel like I know the Titans have been looking for. Imagine you're a Titans fan. You've been looking for a head coach since middle of the NFL
Yeah,
season.
they've been looking for a head coach for a while. And I thought the Titans actually made a really good move with Robert Saleh.
I respect
I
it
know
a lot.
you agree with me there.
Yeah.
Well, especially with how their head coach search was going prior to that. Chargers McDaniel not as head coach. McDaniel's OC Taylor. Because prior to them landing, Robert Saleh, the guys that they were interviewing were Matt Nagy, Mike McCarthy, and freaking Jonathan Gannon too. Like they had some bad candidates, and then they just fell ass backwards into a pretty solid one, Robert Saleh.
They had a really, really weird hiring cycle for this carousel to get to where they got to. I feel like they struck gold, but a blind squirrel finds a nut twice a day is what they say. So I feel like that's what kind of occurred here.
Yeah. Gage, you know something we need to do? Me and Sperry did it last year.
Yep.
We did a live mock draft where we showed on screen the PFF mock draft simulator.
Yeah. That sounds like fun.
And we did it together. That's something we need to do.
We should really cook that up.
We need to do that on a live show.
What if we do like a duel with the Ravens and Packers? Or too much?
Yeah, I feel like just Ravens.
Okay.
We need to do that during a Wednesday live show in the next couple of weeks.
I'm excited for that.
That'd be a lot of fun.
That'll be awesome.
Okay, make sure you keep hitting that thumbs up button. 52 likes, 260 watching. Can we get to 100? And then if we can get to 100, listen to this, okay, ladies and gentlemen. If we get to 100 in the next 30 seconds, I will chug the rest of my Celsius, okay? Then I'll be wired. I'll be wired and ready to go for a whole hour long. We're probably going to stay live today until about 6. We usually duck out of here after about an hour. Today, just in case, some news comes out about Mentor, we're going to stay live for a little bit longer. Okay, we got 7 seconds left. 42 more likes. Ooh, 32 more likes. You know what? I'm going to add an extra 30 seconds. If now we can get there in 30 seconds, I'm going to make it happen. Hit that thumbs up button, ladies and gentlemen. You got 20 more seconds left, and we need 29 more likes. Addison says, I think Minter's going to be hired by tomorrow morning. I think he's going to be hired by tonight. And if that's the case, then I'm rushing back into the studio. Even if I'm at home in the shower, if I'm at home eating dinner, if I'm at home asleep, someone's going to come wake me up. Okay, did we get there? No, we did not. We're close, though. 14 likes away. Help me out. Okay, coming up first, we're going to get you caught up on all of the Ravens Minter. Actually, Gage, can we do this one last? Let's do Mel Kiper first. Then let's do the Ravens mailbag, just in case, something happens. Yeah, what's up? Yeah? I'm going to say, has this person been hired yet? It's a dream hire. Is it, Nick Saban? I'd love it, dude. I think that would be great, man. Yeah, dude, if they got freaking Nick Saban, oh, that would rock. That would rock, man. Okay, we're gonna get to this news a little bit later. Would just hate to do it and then not use it because the plan is to push it out later tonight after we get off live. But if we get 30 minutes from now and they hire Jesse Minter, then that video is going to be scrapped because it will be unusable. So we're going to hit these 2 videos first. And then at the end of today's show, before we log off, we're going to hit the latest rumors. Okay. Gage, are we ready to go? Is there any way we could lift that up a little bit? Thank you. Yeah, I don't think the Steelers get Flores. If I had to guess right now, it's going to be Shoeless. going to be Shula or McCarthy. That's kind of my thoughts. Perfect. And down a little bit, up a little bit more. There we go. That's perfect. Oh, man. Saban would be awesome. That would be awesome. Because people want to say Saban, like, failed in the NFL, but, like, he really did it. Yeah, he was head coach of the Dolphins, and, like, the Dolphins were getting better under him. He just went back decently early. Do you think Kurt Signetti would do well in the NFL, or do you think he's just one of those college coaches? I don't know if he'd do well in the NFL just because of how much he relies on RPOs.
I feel that as well as the recruiting aspect of it. I mean, with there's no salary cap in college football because it's all fairly new. I'm intrigued to see how if he does get there. I think he'll struggle with a salary cap in the NFL.
Yeah,
well.
I don't think he would, but
and you won't have too much rain as he does in college.
Hey Daniel, I got you. Appreciate you. I got your note. Also, we have yet to get the jersey delivered, but if you said it got here, I'm sure it's just in the building. We're just waiting for it to get all the way up to the 21st floor into us. Okay, Gage, let's do it. Our first mock draft reaction of the offseason. Exciting stuff. All that and more coming up to you right now. Ladies and gentlemen, we are well into the offseason. That means it's time to start talking about the NFL draft. And I know the Ravens season was a little bit of a bummer in 2025. But I think the good news coming from that is they've locked down a top 15 pick. That's right. They're picking at number 14. It's the highest they picked at a decent bit. So I'm excited to see who they'll be able to land to help them ball out in 2026. Coming up, we'll react to Mel Kiper of ESPN and Field Yates of ESPN. Their mock drafts, both of them different players, different sides of the ball. I'll let you know who they have the Ravens selecting at number 14. Before that, though, if you want the Ravens to absolutely crush the draft, do me one big favor, hit that thumbs up button and like today's video. So before we get into their picks, I want to let you know what I believe the Ravens' top draft needs are. I think it's offensive line. I think it's defensive line. I think that is number 1 and 2, and I don't even really think that's debatable, okay? And I think if you're going to debate it, you could convince me, okay, defensive line is over offensive line, but I believe those are 1 and 2 in whatever order you want to put them in. And I think defensive line, you could use guys on the interior and on the exterior, so that might shoot up to the very top. Outside of that, I think linebacker, I don't know how much longer Roquan Smith's going to be able to play decent football in the National Football League. I think you got a stud in Teddy Buchanan, but I do believe you need a little more depth at linebacker. Cornerback, who knows what's going to happen with Marlon Humphrey and his future. And then wide receiver. A little bit more on that in a second. And when I talk about a second, I mean literally a second, because Mel Kiper has the Baltimore Ravens selecting Makai Lemon, wide receiver out of USC. And if you've watched this dude play football for a single second, I promise you, regardless of what you believe the top needs are, you'd be excited about this pick. Mel Kiper with a little bit more. Lemon is one of my favorite prospects in this class. He attacks the ball in the air, and you can see his competitiveness and the way he plays the game. Like Zay Flowers, he's on the smaller side at 5'11", 195 pounds. But also like Flowers, he still has the inside-outside flexibility. Lemon went for 1,156 yards and 11 touchdowns this past season. And that kind of production could help Lamar Jackson get back to MVP levels. Look, I think that Makai Lemon is an unbelievable player. I think the dude is going to be a star in the National Football League. And I get it. You could compare him to Zay Flowers size-wise. He's bigger than Zay Flowers is, both height and weight reasons. Like, he looks bigger and he's much taller than he is. So I don't think you have to worry about getting another small wide receiver 1, quote-unquote. But we mentioned it. Before we told you the pick, this is not even near what the Ravens need the most. And when you look at the future, with the question marks surrounding Tyler Linderbaum, with the question marks surrounding Nnamdi Madubuike, you just don't know what you're going to have on the offensive and defensive line. So it's hard for me to just surpass that position, to pass up that position with a pick inside the top 15. But you also got to look at it like a Cowboys situation back in 2020. The Cowboys went into that draft with a ton of needs. Wide receiver wasn't necessarily at the top of their list. They had Amari Cooper. They had a couple of other good wideouts. But they thought no way in hell that CeeDee Lamb was going to fall all the way down to 17, but he did. And they just could not pass him up. If you're sure somebody's going to be a star in the National Football League, even if it's at a position you don't need the most help in, sometimes you can't help yourself but select them. And so I could see that being the case for Baltimore, where it gets to 14. They've got needs that they could fulfill in the offensive and defensive line. They never thought Mekhi Lemon was going to get there, and they pulled the trigger. Fill in the blank for me. I would feel blank if the Ravens draft Mekhi Lemon. Let me know your answer down below in the comment section. Caveat, this is drafting Mekhi Lemon in the first round, not just drafting him overall. This is what you'd be getting, a stud, okay? A guy who caught 79 balls this year, 1,100 yards, 14.6 yards a carry, 11 touchdowns, only 2 drops in 12 games played. And one of the coolest things is he's sharing the ball and like sharing receptions with other elite wideouts on USC's roster. Like, sure, he's got Mayava tossing him the rock, which helps a ton, but he's also got Jacoby Lane on that roster with him who caught for 745 yards. He's just been a really solid player over these last 2 years. Consistent playmaker. He made the massive, massive jump up this last season in 2025. Enough of a jump up to almost be a guaranteed pick inside the top, 15 or 16. And when it comes to the Ravens wide receiver room in 2025, there's a lot to talk about. Starting off at the top, Zay Flowers. You got to answer the question, is he a wide receiver one? I personally don't think he is. I think he would be the best wide receiver 2 in the league. But is he a wide receiver 1? You've given him 3 seasons to prove that, and I don't know if he has. Sure, you can throw yards at me all you want, but let's just think about all the big game situations. When have we said, no matter what, you got to get the ball to Zay Flowers? In fact, we've had more chances. We've had more discussions about why does Zay Flowers always make these mistakes in the biggest parts of the game. Again, I think he's a great wide receiver. I don't think he's a wide receiver 1. DeAndre Hopkins is a free agent. Rashad Bateman, he might suck. Probably the worst extension you did last season. Devontae Walker, for some reason, doesn't play, even though he shows flashes every single game. And then Tylan Wallace and LeJontay Wester, they were non-factors last year. And I kind of expect them to be non-factors in 2026 as well. Look, you got Lamar. You got a 2-time MVP candidate. Derrick Henry's only getting older. This offensive line has a ton of question marks. You're probably going to lose Isaiah Likely. Mark Andrews is geriatric at this point. You probably need some help. Let's just be honest. The question then turns to, where do you address it? Real quickly, we got to give a big shout out to the sponsor of today's show, our great friends over at Prize Picks. The big game is almost here, and there's no better way to cash in during America's biggest sporting event than Prize Picks, where it always feels good to be right. And since the game is right around the corner, that also means it's your last chance to get into the football action before next season. So close the season out right with Prize Picks by getting $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. Missing your fantasy team? My league is already over, but with Prize Picks, I don't have to wait until next year's draft to keep playing fantasy. Prize Picks lets you play fantasy football every week, even in the playoffs. Pick your favorite players and win when they hit their projections every week. No draft required. Join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. It is Conference Championship Day. Best day of the year, honestly. I absolutely love it. I'm going to take the more on Drake May, 227.5 pass yards. I'm going to take the less on Jarrett Stidham, 185.5 pass yards. I think New England punches their ticket to the big game. I'm going to take the more on Matthew Stafford and Sam Darnold pass yards. Give me the Seahawks to punch their ticket into the big game as well. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Link to this promo is in the comments and description of today's video. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. So that's who Mel Kiper chose. Let's talk about Field Yates out of ESPN as well. He has the Baltimore Ravens selecting Peter Woods, defensive tackle out of Clemson. And Yates goes on to explain a little bit more his reasoning behind the pick of Woods. It's always wise to look beyond the box score with DT prospects, and that's especially the case with Woods. He has only 5 sacks in 3 seasons, but he can create havoc at the line of scrimmage. Woods has the agility and quickness that could allow him to move out to the edge for some snaps as well. Now, I will admit, I do like that a decent bit about Woods, is that he has that versatility to be on the inside and also on the outside. But, I'm not in love with him as a prospect. I'm not in love with him as a player. I'm sure as hell not in love with him as a top half of the draft in the first round kind of guy. Look, at the end of the day, you could say whatever you want to me, but Havoc does not win Super Bowls. Havoc does not win in the NFL on Sundays. Havoc is a great thing to have. Good defenses are able to create havoc, but good defenses are able to stop the run and get to the quarterback consistently. That's what I'm looking for, not somebody to come in here and create havoc. I'm looking for somebody to come in here and create plays. And Peter Woods just hasn't done that as high enough as a clip. And, let's call a spade a spade. He played for Clemson in the ACC. That's a horrible conference. It's not like he played for Ohio State. It's not like he played for Georgia, Alabama, had to play top 10 teams week in and week out. He's playing Wake Forest, NC State, Duke, Virginia, most of his Saturdays. And still just not much. The traits are great. They're fun. They're awesome. But, we went through this with Shamar Stewart last year. Now, I don't have a disdain towards Peter Woods quite like I did Shamar. But every time we talked about Shamar, I came back to the same sentiment of too often teams just disregard production and take a chance on somebody's projection, which sometimes works, but oftentimes it doesn't. I think we're too quick to just throw away what they just did on the football field because they come out in their underwear and they bench press a lot and they jump high and they run fast. And we think that's going to ultimately translate in the NFL when we should just look at the film and what they've been doing on the football field. Because that's what you're drafting them to do, is play football. You're not drafting them to put on spandex and sprint. You're drafting them to put on shoulder pads and create something more than havoc. You ask them to go out there and create plays. Still left on the board for Kiper that I would rather have over Makai, Vega Ione. Offensive guard out of Penn State. Think this guy's going to be a star. You need offensive guard help, especially with the question marks surrounding Tyler Linderbaum. And Akeem Mesidor. If you watch Miami in their college football playoff run, Akeem Mesidor jumped off the page every single game. Okay? Talk about a dude who makes plays. Still on the board for Field Yates that I would possibly be more interested in than Peter Woods. Vega Ione still, just like in Mel Kiper's. Also Sonny Styles, linebacker out of Ohio State. Gage, how many missed tackles did Sonny Styles have this year? 0. You guys can't see Gage. I can, though. He was holding up this, okay? 0. Not a 1. That's interesting to me. My dream targets are Reuben Bain and David Bailey, though, okay? If I could have it my way, if the draft board could perfectly fall, Bain and Bailey would be the guys that fall Baltimore. I don't know if they will. If I had to bet on it, I don't think they will. But if they did, man, I would be jumping for joy. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials. Subscribe to the channel. You can find my socials right here or down below in the comment section. Make sure to hit me up and hit that big red sub button. All righty. That is one segment down. We are about to get into our mailbag. 140 likes, Gage. Let's go. We got 250 people watching. I saw at one point we had 300. I don't think so. Gonna check the socials. See if we're missing something. Yeah, I think we're all good. Let's see. I like that, Jonathan. I also liked Aaron's. And I also like Jonathan's first one about it off AOA. Ooh, Steven Wagner of On3 has logged an expert prediction for Miami to land edge Damon Wilson from Missouri. Wow. Damon Wilson, that dude's a stud. That's probably going to be a guy we're going to be talking about in draft discussions a year from right now. I'm still Zeno. How do you feel about trading up for Bain or Bailey? I wouldn't hate it, man, but the one thing I'll tell you about that is if you know how Baltimore operates when it comes to their draft picks, they're very stingy about them. Okay? They do not like to give them away. You think they need another wide receiver under 6 foot? No, but if one as talented as Lemon falls to you, then maybe you got to take a chance for him. Let me look at Mel Kiper draft board. How big is no, not Bailey. No, I'm talking about other wide receivers. Carnell Tate's a big guy. Carnell Tate heights. He's 6'3". I think I'm thinking of Jordan Tyson. Yeah, Jordan Tyson height. I think Jordan Tyson's bigger as well. That's a guy I would really like as well. Yeah, he's 6'2". I think Jordan Tyson would be my number one wide receiver. Like, I would take Jordan Tyson over Lemon and over Carnell Tate as well. Brandon, I saw rumors Minter would hire Greg Roman. No. There was 0% chance the Ravens would let him hire Greg Roman. Literally 0% chance. Okay, Gage, it feels like we've got enough questions. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to do the. Okay, this is fun. This is what we're going to do. Ready? We're going to do this segment. Then we are going to live stream a PFF mock draft. Okay? I'll have to walk you how we do it, but it's pretty easy. Okay? And then we're going to kind of just, chop it up back and forth. And then if no news still at like 5:40, we'll run that last video, that last cut, the first one, and then we'll log out of here at 6. Cool? Sweet. Okay, let's do the coach rankings and then the mailbag. Remember what I was telling you about mailbag as well. And even if it's longer than 8 for the mailbag portion, just keep it like I'll tell you, I'll say our last question when I'm letting you know. I kind of want to round out my things. Colin, I like that question a lot, man. I like that question a lot. I do. Jawan's my guy. Jawan is my guy. He was the only thing that gave us hope as a football team at Tennessee my freshman year. My first ever game, Tennessee loses to Georgia State. First ever game. Yeah. Yeah, it was bad, man. It was my first ever game in Neyland Stadium. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. And you want to know what's funny about what happened that morning, Gage? So you know how Tennessee's on the river, the stadium? So they do sailgating where people take their boats and tailgate on them. Yeah, Washington and Baylor. A boat caught on fire that morning. And one of my cousins sent it to me, and he's like, bad omen? And then they lost to Georgia State. Okay, let's do it. Our ranking Ravens head coach candidates, and then Ravens mailbag, all that and more coming up right now on the show. What's going on, Ravens fans? Welcome into the show. My name is Joey Petersen. We got a fun one coming up for you guys today. Up first, I'm going to rank all the Ravens head coach candidates. So everyone they've done an interview with and everybody that still is able to be hired as their head coach, I'm going to rank them from number 14 all the way up to number 1 by who I would least want to have as the new head coach and who would be my number 1 choice. Then after that, we're going to get into our Ravens Rundown live mailbag. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Let's get into the rankings. Number 14, Darren Rizzi, special teams coach for the Denver Broncos. I don't even really have to talk much about this one. This was one of the most recent interviews they had, kind of came out of nowhere. And if this was something that Baltimore did, I think it'd be the worst hire in the National Football League, maybe in history. Things were an absolute dumpster fire when he was in New Orleans, and no question about it, I have zero faith in it to run this organization. Number 2, or I guess number 13, is Matt Nagy, offensive coordinator with the Kansas City Chiefs. Look, it's cool that he was under Andy Reid for a little bit. Sure, that's all well and good. We've seen Matt Nagy be a head coach before, and again, like Darren Rizzi, it was an absolute dumpster fire. Look, these are the prime years of Lamar Jackson. You cannot waste them with a guy like Matt Nagy. Number 12, Cliff Kingsbury. Now, this is a guy that I would be on board with if he got hired as an offensive coordinator. Like, if the Ravens hired somebody else and they brought in Cliff to call plays, great. That'd be awesome. But what Cliff Kingsbury has shown me in his time as a head coach, both at the college ranks and at the NFL ranks, all he does is lose. That's it. Sure, he may look cool while he does it. He's got the sunglasses on. He's got the spiky hair. He's got the, he wears the tight shirts. He's fit. Don't care. He loses. I don't want to lose her. Jim Schwartz in at number 11. If Jim Schwartz was a guy similar to Cliff Kingsbury that they brought in to be a defensive coordinator, I think that would be awesome. But if you bring Jim Schwartz in to be this team's head coach, I think his time has passed. Okay? I do. And I say that really delicately because his daughter was one of my friends in college. So, Allison, again, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Tell your dad he can come be the defensive coordinator any day of the week. Okay? Number 10, Anthony Campanile, defensive coordinator at Jacksonville. He was one of the most recent interviews as well. I think it'd be cool. He's nowhere near the top of my list. Like, those bottom 4, I'd be upset. These middle 5, I would kind of just be like, okay. And then my top 5, I'd be excited about. Anthony is kind of at the end of that. He hasn't shown me enough yet. Davis Webb, pass game coordinator for Denver. Similar boat to Cliff Kingsbury. If the new head coach, whoever it is, wanted to bring in Davis Webb to be this team's offensive coordinator, that's something I'd be interested in. But Webb was playing like 3 years ago. I just think he needs a little bit more time. I love that he's worked under Sean Payton. He's learned from one of the greats, ladies and gentlemen. Give him a couple more years to bake. You know what I'm saying. Vance Joseph, defensive coordinator for Denver. It's impressive what he's done with the Broncos defense over the last couple of years. It's really cool that after failing in Denver, they just brought him back to be their defensive coordinator. I just think at the end of the day, some guys are coordinators, some guys are head coaches. I think Vance Joseph is one of those guys that's just best as a coordinator. Okay, that's why I have him at number 8. Number 7, Joe Brady. I'm not a big Joe Brady guy. Okay, I think he hides behind the talent of Josh Allen a lot. And that if Josh Allen didn't pull a Superman play out of his rear end every single game, their season and that franchise would be very, very different. I think Joe Brady rides his coattails a little bit. Nate Scheelhaase would be at number 6. Look, this one intrigues me. McVay tree. Sure, he's the pass game coordinator, so I kind of feel the same way about him as I do Davis Webb. Might need a little bit longer to sit and cook and learn. But, man, like, you always wonder, guys who have coached under Sean McVay, can they be that next wonder kid? Right? Could they be that next secret in the NFL? Scheelhaase, I think, could, and he's impressed a lot of people in his interviews. Chris Shula, defensive coordinator in Los Angeles. Look, obviously he has the pedigree, a grandson of Don Shula, the legendary Miami Dolphins coach. I really like his defensive philosophies. Their defense in LA is really, really impressive. I would not be mad at all if Chris Shula was the next head coach of the Baltimore Ravens. Same with Anthony Weaver, a guy we talked about at the beginning of this week. Look, he says violence. That's what could solve everything defensively in this sport. If you coach that way, I'm going to be excited about it, okay? A little bit of an underachiever as the defensive coordinator in Miami, but I think he could be a hell of a leader. Obviously, he has those Baltimore connections as well. Number 3, Jesse Minter, defensive coordinator in Los Angeles. All of the rumors towards the end of the week were pointing to Jesse Minter being the next guy. I think that's going to end up being the hire, and I'd be happy with it. Obviously, he's got the ties. I think he fits. He's a great young defensive mind. The big thing with him is who is he going to bring in as OC? If he can nail that, this team can compete for Super Bowls in year one under Jesse Minter. Klint Kubiak, number 2. Look, I think Kubiak, what he's done in Seattle is unbelievably impressive. I think that he has great defensive connections as well, coaching for Mike McDonald. So I think he'd be, able to make that defensive coordinator hire. And speaking of defensive coordinators, Brian Flores always has been and always will be my number 1 target in these Ravens head coach rankings. I just think it's time to give him a shot. I don't think it's going to end up happening. Like, the further we get away from his first interview and the longer we get in this head coach process, I think the less odds Brian Flores has to get it. But if I were the one, running the search, he'd be at the top of my list. Who's your number 1 Ravens head coach candidate? Let me know down below in your comment section. My number 1's Brian Flores. I want to hear what your number 1 is down below in the comments. Alrighty, it is time to get into our Ravens rundown mailbag. Your questions, my answers. The first question we're going to get started with is rflock_8. Do you think the Ravens need another wide receiver under 6 foot? Great question. They got a lot of those right now on the roster. I don't think they need another wide receiver under 6 foot because they've got a good bit of those already. But I don't think I would be upset if they somehow got another one. Like we talked about, or we will talk about Mekhi Lemon tomorrow. If Mekhi Lemon ended up falling to them at 14 and they just could not pass him up, he's 5'11". I don't think that would be that bad of a selection. I think you have bigger needs than Mekhi Lemon on the offensive and defensive side of the ball. I would prefer a wide receiver like a Jordan Tyson, who's 6'2", or a Carnell Tate, who's 6'3". I'd prefer bigger wide receivers, either through the draft or free agency, but I don't think that they're no more wide receivers under 6 foot. Okay? You know what I'm saying? Jonathan Diaz, 1259, with Minter being a top candidate, do you think there's a chance of an OA reunion is possible? At the point of recording this video, Jesse Minter is most likely going to be the Ravens' next head coach. He is not officially the Ravens' next head coach yet. By the time you're watching this, he very well could be. I actually do think it's possible, funny enough. I don't think it's probable, but I think there's a chance. And if you look at what Jesse Minter was able to bring out of Odafe Oweh in their time together in Los Angeles, it was incredibly impressive. Compared to what he was doing in Baltimore, when they shipped him off, I was like, that's fine. I wanted to see something out of Odafe Oweh. He didn't show me in a contract year. So I was like, fine, get him out of here. Get a Loie Gilman in here. Get a better draft pick. And then he goes to Los Angeles and he dominates. 7.5 sacks in 12 games. He had 3 sacks and 2 forced fumbles in their one playoff game. Really, really impressive. Up next, Mr. Reliable. Should the Ravens sign Trey Hendrickson? Good question. Trey Hendrickson is a free agent, for those of you who do not know. He did not play a lot in 2025 because he was dealing with some back injuries. If you would have asked me this a year ago, I would have said yes, a million times yes. But you asking me right now, I don't think so. Even though I know this team has needs at the edge rusher spot on the defensive line, I just don't really have much interest in signing a guy who's going to be decently expensive, who's old, and was just dealing with back issues. I don't think that's the best course of action, if you get what I'm saying. Should the Ravens sign Trey Hendrickson? Give me a yes or a no down below in the comment section. If it's for a decent price, I'd be interested. But if it's for the price that I think it's going to be for, a little bit more expensive than I'd be willing to pay, then I'm going to give them a no. Something you should give a yes is our friends over at Ethos. As you know, my wife Kennedy and I got married a year and a half ago. I imagine we'll buy a house and start having kids sometime soon. And if something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. After watching someone close to me go through loss, I saw how quickly grief can turn into financial stress. That experience changed how I think about protecting my family. Life insurance isn't about expecting the worst, but it's about making sure the people you love are supported no matter what. That's why I recommend life insurance through Ethos. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Of course, application times may vary. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. And if you don't believe me, well, hear this. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/NFL Daily. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. Christian Malley coming in with a €5 super chat. What if someone becomes head coach of the Ravens that you did not have on your list? Well, if someone becomes the head coach, again, this is coming. Well, this is being filmed before, this is being filmed on Wednesday. So if they make a hire of Jesse Minter in the next couple of days or somebody else, obviously, this is a different question. But look, I would be bummed, frankly. Like if it's one of those bottom 4 guys, like a Jim Schwartz, Klint, or Cliff Kingsbury, a Matt Nagy, Darren Rizzi. If it's one of those guys, I'm not going to lie to you, Christian, I'd be pretty bummed. Scott's Channel 572. Does Nate Scheelhaase for OC make sense with the speculation of Minter for head coach? Yes, it does. I think it makes sense because Scheelhaase right now, first off, I believe Baltimore was incredibly impressed with him. Second off, he's not calling plays. He's under Sean McVay. That's what Sean McVay does. He's the play caller. Always has been, always will be. So I would not be surprised to see Scheelhaase take another offensive coordinator job because he could have the opportunity to prove himself as a play caller. Like if he's already getting head coach interviews and he's not even calling plays, really all he has to do if he doesn't land one of these head coaching jobs, which I don't think he will, all he has to do is get that on his resume and boom, we're off to the races. If he does a good job at it, all of a sudden he's a top candidate. Where's the better chance to do a good job to be a play caller on offense than with Lamar Jackson, Derrick Henry? Austin Majin, as a Giants fan, should be excited about Todd Monken if he becomes the OC. Yeah, I do think you should be excited. Is he perfect? No, Austin, he's not. There were times where there were some head-scratching personnel decisions. Sometimes where Derrick Henry wasn't on the field, felt like he should be on the field. But like overall, when it comes to play callers in the National Football League, Todd Monken had a really good couple of years in Baltimore. Like what he was able to do with Lamar Jackson was really, really impressive. And, he'll be great with Jackson. Colin says, what do you think about signing Juwan Jennings in free agency? Well, Colin, if you don't know, I am a Tennessee Volunteers alum. Juwan Jennings was like the only thing I had to look forward to for Tennessee's football team my freshman year, 2019. First game of the year, we lost to Georgia State. Second game of the year, we lost to BYU. We sucked, but we had Juwan, and Juwan rocked. And he was a dog, and he made plays, and he was never the fastest on the field. He was never the strongest on the field, but he caught every ball that went to his way, and he never went down on first contact. I think that's something this team needs, okay? I don't know. How would you feel if we drafted, who is that? Jacoby Lane in the second round. I don't think I'd be that upset about it. Like, there's guys that I would have more eyes on in the second round of the draft. I think there's better targets you could have in the second round of the draft. But if you landed Jacoby Lane, I think that's something that would be exciting. I really, really do. That's a great question. Cannot wait to get more into draft coverage the closer we get to there. That's going to do it for today's show. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials, Twitter, Instagram, at Joey Petersen on both platforms. Make sure you subscribe to the channel down below, youtube.com/RavensTV. Daily content, all 100% free, only on your Baltimore Ravens. All righty, we are 2 cuts in. Oh, Colin, great question. Put that up right now. And thank you for the $5 super chat, my friend. It is 5:21 Central, 6:21 Eastern. We have yet to get any news on one Jesse Minter. Colin and Zelmo, who do you think is a bigger clown, Nick Wright or Dan Orlovsky? I'm kind of starting to think it's Dan Orlovsky. Because he's just so hypocritical, man. He is so like critical of Lamar, and he's so non-critical of a guy like Josh Allen. Like if Josh Allen loses, it's always because of somebody else. If Lamar Jackson loses, it's always because of Lamar. So yeah, I actually think it's Dan Orlovsky. Ian says, answer my question. Do you think there's a possibility the Ravens lose out on Kubiak or other wanted coach? I do think they will not land Kubiak. I do believe that. I do not think that they're going to land Kubiak. Will you trade Marlon Humphrey for Kayvon Thibodeau? Yes, I would. Are you happier with Jesse or Brian? I would be happier with Brian, but that doesn't mean I wouldn't be happy with Jesse. We should get Max Crosby, then draft Francis or Spencer. Yeah, I wouldn't mind it. The thing is, if you're getting Max Crosby, though, you're trading away your first-round pick, so you wouldn't be able to pick those guys. Do you like the pick like Zion Young and Howell? Help? Darrell Jackson Jr.? Those wouldn't be bad at all. Do you think the Ravens draft Connor Lew and second Curry Blanket if Linderbaum is tagged? They're not going to tag Linderbaum because his tag would be a lot of money. I believe they're waiting on Klint Kubiak. They can't interview till after the NFC Championship. They could be waiting on him, or, not going to lie, ladies and gentlemen, they could just hire him today. Okay, Gage, let's do something fun. How about it? Ready? This won't be a cut. This will just be for fun.
Okay, I'm good with this.
So do me a favor.
Yep.
You don't have to put yourself up here because you'll have to focus over there.
Okay.
So go on the computer.
Yes, sir.
Not on your computer, on the monitor.
Yep.
Like to your left, and look up PFF Mock Draft Simulator, okay? And there's a chance you'll have to sign into our Chat Sports PFF Mock Draft account, or our Chat Sports. Do you have to sign in? Great, you go to passwords and credentials. That'll give you it right there. What about Kendrick Falk? I love the guy. Ruben Bain reminds me of Terrell Suggs. I love Ruben Bain. I like Falk as well, out of Auburn. Nobody wants Minter. He seems soft. Give me Flores a call today. I would rather, like you, have Flores over Minter, but I don't think Minter's soft. He's just not as outspoken and brash as those guys are. We do have PFF Plus or Flock. We're just not logged into it on that computer. They're a big reason we're able to give you guys a lot of the statistics and grades that we are. PFF Plus and NFL Plus, massive, massive helps to us here at Chat Sports. I'll tell you that much. Let me text my wife and tell her. Hi, still live. Will okay. Said still live. Will be until 6 if they don't hire a head coach. I'll keep you updated. Colin with another 5. Last message. Just want to say thank you for providing great news every day. Colin, doesn't have to be your last message, man. We appreciate it. Appreciate the 5. Appreciate you being here. Appreciate you appreciating us, man. We get to do something really, really cool. That's Talk Ravens every single day. And so it's a pleasure, man. Is that not working? Does it have are you typing in what it has? And you're making sure caps lock is off and stuff like that? And then, is there any way that can show you password? Interesting. Okay, if you want to take over real quick, I'll jump in behind you. So you can throw your camera up there for a second. And you can just chop it up. Sweet. All right.
How's it going, guys? How are we doing? Been a bit of seeing a little bit behind the scenes action going on right now. Joey's trying to, I think I deleted it actually. Close the tab out, unfortunately.
Oh, PFF.
Yep. How's it going, Aaron Kutz? Thanks for joining. Make sure you hit that sub button while you're here. We'll have all the coverage you need for the Baltimore Ravens' off season. get all this up here for you real quick. So make sure. There we are.
Hey, I don't know what you did.
You got in?
Yes.
Are you serious?
I just put the password in.
What was it? Was the right one? Was the PFF one?
Yes.
What was I doing wrong?
I don't know. I knew you were doing something wrong, though.
That's ridiculous. All right, the computers hate me. It's official.
Okay. So what you'll do here
Yeah.
is do this. Do you have the duck race up? Okay, get the duck race up. We'll put PFF up on the screen, and then we will do a live mock draft down below. And the cool thing is, y'all, if you super chat in, we'll do this. If you super chat in $5 or more, you get to make the pick. Okay? You get to make the pick. We'll get that up on the screen, and then. Okay, no worries. And then after like 10 minutes, like after we do our first one, we'll go into our final cut, probably around 5:45 for that Minter rumors. I'm still Zeno, says. Daniel says, get it together, Gage. I know. Amen. Aaron's a new subscriber. Let's go. Zeno says, if an offensive tackle falls to us like Francis Melgao, would you rather them draft him and try to move him to guard? Yeah, I honestly wouldn't mind that because Francis is a little undersized to play tackle in the NFL. Like, Francis is, let's see. Never mind. He's 6'6", so he's not undersized at all. Yes, have it full. Kubiak, Minter, or Shula. I think it's going to be Kubiak. Don't forget to email me and let you know in that jersey. Daniel, I will. Still don't have it today, but I'm thinking sometime at the end of this week we'll be able to get it. Okay, and then do you know what to do when it's that black? Great. Who do y'all think is better tackle? I think Spencer is. They're both good, though, man. Oh, thoughts on Malachi Starks' first season? I thought it was good. I didn't think it was perfect, but I also don't think he had a coach that really brought the best out of him. Like, I wouldn't be surprised in year 2 if we saw him just absolutely light it up, okay? Okay, now zoom in a little bit on the monitor. There we go. Okay, now scroll down a little bit. So do rounds, click the 7. And then click Baltimore at 14. Okay, and then I think that should be it. Enter draft. Start draft. Okay, who is available? Jermod McCoy. I don't hate that, but I don't think cornerback is as early of a need as defensive line or offensive line. Ooh, Spencer Fano's there. Okay, Terrell Francis is there. Denzel Boston. Okay, keep going. Ooh, Ione's there. Okay, we're going to do this. We're going to draft Francis, and we're going to say we're reverting him into a guard. Let's just not do trades right now. Okay? I believe we're going to go with Francis, and we're going to put him inside at guard. That's what we're going to do. Okay, who picked? Can you scroll up and see who picked before us?
So Rams picked Mekhi Lemon. You can see on the left side.
Mekhi Lemon. Keldrick Falk went to Auburn.
No, he went to Dallas. Sonny Styles to Miami.
Yeah, where did Ruben Bain go?
He went to the Cardinals.
Okay, he went early.
So, yeah, it was Mendoza, Reese, Bain, and Caleb Downs to Tennessee.
Okay.
Carnell Tate to the Giants.
David Bailey to the Saints.
Wait, Jeremiah Love to the Browns?
Jeremiah Love to the Browns. Interesting.
But they already have Junkins, though.
Yeah, they have Junkins. Sometimes this thing isn't perfect. Let's draft Francis. Okay?
Yeah.
We're going to draft Francis. I think that's a can't-miss tackle.
Yeah.
I do. I like Vega, but I like Francis.
Jeremy Bernard is next up in round 2.
Not super interested in that. I do like Jake Golday. Ooh, I really like Zion Young. I actually don't even really need to think about this a lot. Let's go Zion Young.
Yeah.
Okay? Zion Young with our second pick. Okay, we're into the third round right now. Now, again, give me some forgiveness. I'm not super locked in on the draft yet because I've been doing so much head coach stuff. Keep going down.
Zachariah Branch.
Interesting.
That
He's
is
small though.
Yeah.
He is a small guy.
Julian
Neal, I
like
out of
like him.
Arkansas.
Yeah.
I actually really like that pick. Let's go with Julian Neal at Arkansas. That's a guy that some people have mocked in the second round.
So that's like a steal in third.
That'd be great. Ooh, Will Lee. Dang it. I would have gotten him if I would have known. Okay. Now we're in the fourth round, correct?
We're in the fourth
so
round,
we got
pick
offensive
115.
line, we got defensive line, we got corner. Let's see what wide receivers are available. I do like Katron Allen.
I'm tempted. I'm not gonna lie. Eric McAllister.
Not really.
Eric Rivers.
We might have missed out on our wide receiver.
Bryce Lance. You want to take a shot at Trey Lance's younger brother from North Dakota State?
No, I do not.
You don't want to take a shot at those Bison?
No, I do not want to take a shot on the Bison. Okay, go up to the top.
Don't we have filter for by receiver?
I mean, should we just pick Will Lee and go back-to-back corners? And just say, hey,
it doesn't hurt.
Hey, we're assuming that they're trading away Marlon Humphrey. Is that crazy to go back-to-back corners? Or should we go Josh Cuevas at tight end?
Because
how'd Josh Cuevas do this year? Okay. He did decent. Go back to Lance.
Oh, okay.
Maybe I'm... Actually, you know what? Screw it. Let's go Bryce Lance.
Yes! FCS, baby!
Let's go Bryce Lance. Okay. So you got wide receiver need. Miles Kitselman sucks. I would never, ever draft him. Okay. Jaden Roberts, interesting. Tanner is interesting as well over there. Tied in.
Daquan Wright from Mississippi.
Ooh, I like Fisher at linebacker.
Yeah, I do too.
Let's go. Should we go Fisher or should we go up at the top again? Or should we go Tanner?
The thing is, do you think Likely will be back next year? Or because I know that they signed an extension with Andrews.
They did sign an extension with Andrews. Let's go Tanner.
Okay.
Koziel.
Is Charlie Kolar? So I think you're going to down 4.
He's a free agent as well.
Okay.
Okay. What pick are we at right now? Do we know what round we're at?
We're at round 5, pick 160.
Okay.
So we have 4 picks remaining after this one.
Okay, great. So we've got tight end. Let's try to get an offensive guard here. Probably should have done that last round.
We have Ernest Green.
Ooh, actually, let's get DeMonte Capehart. The
defensive
interior defensive lineman out of Clemson. I think that's a guy that I think could end up going higher than a lot of people think. Okay. Not interested in any of those guys. Maybe you need a running back.
Really?
I mean, Derrick Henry's getting older.
But they just got one last year.
Keaton,
then you got Justice Hill.
Maybe you start thinking about running back. I don't know.
Do you want to get Desmond Reed?
Not right now. Let's keep looking. Maybe
hey. We get Diego Pavia for you.
Did we get Fisher, the linebacker, or did we go somewhere else?
We got Fisher. Oh, no,
we
wait.
Did?
No, I don't. Did we?
Go to your picks. Do you see that?
Yeah. We got Tanner instead.
Okay, let's go with Kyle Lewis at a Pitt for linebacker.
Okay. Jalen Daniels still on the... Oh, we have back-to-back picks. Never mind.
There you go. Back-to-back.
We have back-to-back, yeah.
Okay. Ooh, Brennan Thompson's really good. I like him.
Do you think he'll be like a sneaky fifth rounder?
Let's get Brennan Thompson.
Okay.
2 more picks?
Yep, 249, 252. So we have until like the 7th round, I think. Yeah.
Ooh, Tommy Castellanos.
Jake Retzlaff. A lot of quarterbacks right now. Okay. Oh, my God. He's actually not a bad QB.
I actually like R.J. Maryland a lot, but I can't talk myself into drafting 2 linebackers. Let's get David Carter out of Texas Tech. Let's get a guard.
Okay. forgot we already have a safety. And then last pick.
Last pick. Ooh, let's get Bryce.
I was thinking that.
Yeah, I think that dude's a player. Okay, how do we do?
Let's see what our grade is.
What did it give us?
C for Francis Mauanoa. A- for Zion Young. Julian Neal's a C. Bryce Lance a B-. A- for Demond Cap. We did pretty well.
A- for Brendan Thompson.
Overall, B.
Not bad.
I'll take it. Yeah.
Not bad for our first one with no research whatsoever. Us just ripping it.
Just by the first round, I'll take it.
Yeah, me too. Okay, Gage, ready to get into that first cut?
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's talk about the Jesse Minter rumors, ladies and gentlemen. That was fun. First little mock draft. I mean, how are you going to fault the Francis Mauanoa pick? One, Francis, in Mel Kiper's most recent mock, went number 3 overall. There's no N in there. It's a G. It is Mauanoa? Interesting. Well, that's why you're my producer. Okay. Yeah, he is a tackle, Jacko, but like we see guys get drafted as tackle and switched into guard all the time in the National Football League. So that's my plan. Might be a crazy one, but that's my plan. Hey, it's my mock draft. Exactly. Okay, don't go anywhere. Our final segment of the day. It is time to talk about the rumors that we have gotten today. Spicy. There's a chance before we go to bed tonight, Jesse Minter is the Baltimore Ravens' next head coach. All right, guys, you ready to roll? Wait, I think that that's not the first social. Of course. There we go. Too high for Francis, Chris? People are saying he's going to the top 3, regardless. Okay, let's get into it. First segment, last segment, actually, coming up at you right now. What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Baltimore Ravens Rundown. My name is Joey Petersen. Matt Zenitz gave us some pretty big news earlier today, saying the Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter is interviewing in person today with the Ravens for their head coaching job, sources tell CBS Sports. I'm not going to lie to you. There is a chance this is a don't let him leave the building type situation where they bring Jesse Minter in with the sole point, knocking out that last interview and then having him sign across the dotted line. We'll break it down more on today's show. Hey, the second the Ravens do hire a head coach, whether it's Minter, Kubiak, Flores, or whether it's my mom, we will be going live as soon as possible. So make sure you subscribe and turn on those notifications so that way when it does happen, you can come hang out with us. I promise you it's going to be a very, very fun time. So what am I talking about, right? Well, Jason La Canfora, a guy who is a ton of insiders in the National Football League, has covered the National Football League for a very, very long time, tweeted out right after CBS Sports tweeted their thing out, execs from multiple NFL front offices who are conducting head coach searches believe the Ravens are moving close to a final decision and strongly anticipate Chargers defensive coordinator Jesse Minter getting the job. The industry also expected Minter in Baltimore before Harbaugh was let go, for what it's worth. And they're not the only ones who expected that, because we kind of expected it as well. Look, this video went out on October 6th, 2025, after the Houston Texans destroyed you in M&T Bank Stadium. We did a video called John Harbaugh Replacements. Again, this was 3 months ago. Jesse Minter was at the very, very top of the list. We've seen this coming for a decent bit just because we knew the way this organization's run, and we knew that he would fit decently well because he's already been in the building. Okay, so we talked about it. People are talking about the marketplace odds. I'm sure you've seen this on social media, have kind of started going very heavily to Jesse Minter at 65% as of today. And when you looked yesterday morning, he was sitting at like 15%. So they skyrocketed for a reason. And I'm here to tell you, if he's the hire, ladies and gentlemen, I'm happy about it. Okay? I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and tell you he's number one on my list. I'm not even going to sit here and lie to you and tell you he's number two, but he's top 5 for sure. There are dozens of other hires that you could make that would be far worse than Jesse Minter. And if you give Jesse Minter the resources, and if he comes in here and makes a couple of really good hires, guys, you could be competing for Super Bowls in year one with him. I promise you that. I just believe he fits, man. He's been in Baltimore before. He knows how this organization's run. He knows how this organization works. He's a young and up-and-coming head coach. He runs the Mike Macdonald defensive system, which had a ton of success in Baltimore in 2022 and 2023 when it was actually being run by Mike Macdonald himself. And if you need further convincing that Jesse Minter just might be a defensive guru, well, here's case in point. Perfect evidence. You remember when Odafe Oweh was with the Ravens? 5 games, 10 tackles for loss. Or excuse me, 10 tackles overall. 1 tackle for loss, 0 sacks in 5 games. He goes to Los Angeles, and in 12 games with Jesse Minter's defense, 7.5 sacks, 8 tackles for loss, 28 tackles, 37 QB pressures. And when Odafe was traded, I was like, great, man, he showed me nothing. Well, what that shows me is it was more on the coach, on the scheme, than on the player. Because the second he got with Minter, man, you unlocked what you always were expecting Odafe Oweh to be. Him and Mike Macdonald, 2 very similar career paths. Like 2018, 2020, Macdonald was the Ravens linebacker coach. That's when Jesse Minter was in Baltimore. 2021, Minter goes to be the Vanderbilt DC. Mike Macdonald goes to be the Michigan DC. Then after he leaves to come to Baltimore, Jesse Minter goes to Michigan, right? And then after Mike Macdonald leaves Baltimore to go to Seattle, and after Jim Harbaugh leaves Michigan to go to L.A., Jesse Minter follows him there. Next stop for Macdonald was the Seahawks. Now that next stop for Jesse Minter is up in the air, but we have a good feeling it's going to be the Baltimore Ravens. Look, that defense with Macdonald was something special, man. It's the reason that you were such a damn good team. Sure, Lamar Jackson had a great year, but that was the best defense in football. 2022, 3rd best in points. 2023, 1st best. You were like a top 10 team in every metric over those last 2 seasons. And that's what LA's been under Minter. And the thing that impresses me so much with LA is you can name Khalil Mack, you can name Derwin James, and you could probably name Odafe Oweh because he was a Baltimore Raven. Other than that, who can you name on that Chargers defense? Like nobody. They don't have any household names other than those guys we just listed. And Khalil Mack's like 100 years old at this point. He's a shell of who he was a decade ago. And they're a top 10 defense in the league. Jesse Minter could come into Baltimore, and I promise you, he could turn this thing around in an instant. Would you be happy with Jesse Minter? Give me a yes or give me a no down below in the comment section. Type Y for yes, type in for no. Light it up for me, ladies and gentlemen. Am I crazy that I'd be happy? If you think so, let me know down below. Now, when it comes to Jesse Minter, he would have to nail the offensive coordinator hire. Okay? That is something that would be very, very important. And that is something that we've talked about a lot when we talked about Jesse Minter. Because we don't worry about the defensive side of football. He's got that on lock. He's got great connections. But the only 2 NFL coaches he's coached for, and the only coaches he's coached for in the last decade or so, have been the Harbaughs. Has it happened? Yeah, we're getting some word. Where are you seeing this? But do you see it on Twitter? Okay. So that's probably something that we should have. Yeah, there's nothing. Yeah. No, you're good. Okay. let's just go back to after the going to after the weigh-in. Cool? All right, sweet. Now we'll start here. All right. Look, if you brought in Jesse Minter, he would have to nail the offensive coordinator hire. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about this. Because if you think about him, you don't have to worry about the defensive side of the football. He's got that on lock, right? He's worked with a ton of guys. He's a great defensive mind in itself. He'd be able to hire a defensive staff, great defensive coordinator. But you do worry about the offensive side of the football because if you think about it, like the last decade, the only coaches he's coached for are Harbaughs. And Harbaughs are not known for their deep offensive connections. So he'd probably have to go somewhere outside of that. Got a couple of guys to possibly keep a watch on. Number one, Brian Dable. Okay. That is a guy who's most likely, as of the last couple of hours, going to take the Titans job. So he might be off the board. Davis Webb, though, he's a guy who the Ravens interviewed for head coach. I think he'd be a great offensive coordinator hire. Nate Scheelhaas, they also, interviewed him for head coach, as did Cliff Kingsbury. All of these guys they're familiarizing themselves with in this head coach search. I think they'd be very on board if Minter wanted to bring them. Shane Day, the Los Angeles QB coach, is a guy to talk about. Greg Roman, would be disgusting. We know that's not going to happen. But Thomas Brown, T. Martin to keep things, all intact for Lamar Jackson. I think that's a guy to discuss as well. I really wanted Mike McDaniel. Like, if the Baltimore Ravens were going to hire a defensive guy, whether it was Shula, whether it was Flores, whether it was Jesse Minter, the guy I wanted to be the next offensive coordinator for the Baltimore Ravens was Mike McDaniel. But unfortunately, it came out late yesterday that Mike McDaniel most likely is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. And not most likely, he is going to be the offensive coordinator for the Los Angeles Chargers. So he is off the board. Look, when it comes to Minter, I think it is a better plan to go out and grab somebody with experience for that coaching position. Because he's going to be a first-year head coach, right? I don't really love the thought of a staff being all first-year guys. A guy who's a first-year head coach, and a guy who's a first-year offensive coordinator, and a guy who's a first-year defensive coordinator. I'm not saying it wouldn't work, it just wouldn't be my preference. When it comes to life insurance, my preference is with Ethos, and yours should be as well. They're the sponsor of today's show, and as you know, my wife Kennedy and I got married a year and a half ago. I imagine we'll buy a house and start having kids maybe sometime soon. If something were to happen to me, the last thing I want the people I love to worry about is being able to pay the bills. So I trust Ethos to keep them protected. After watching someone close to me go through loss, I saw how quickly grief can turn into financial stress. That experience changed how I think about protecting my family. Life insurance isn't about expecting the worst, but it's about making sure the people you love are supported, no matter what. That's why I recommend life insurance through Ethos. You can get your free quote at ethos.com/NFL Daily. Ethos makes getting life insurance fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. Application times, of course, may vary. There's no medical exam. You just answer a few simple health questions. As of March 2025, Business Insider named Ethos the #1 no medical exam instant life insurance provider. Ethos has 4.8 out of 5 stars on Trustpilot with over 3,000 reviews. Protect your family with life insurance from Ethos now by going to ethos.com/NFL Daily. In as little as 10 minutes, you can get your free quote and up to $3 million in coverage at ethos.com/NFL Daily. That's ethos.com/NFL Daily. Application times and rates may vary. So when it comes to what's going to happen, this is my prediction. I think Jesse Minter becomes the head coach. I think there is a chance that happens sometime in the next couple of hours. It would not surprise me one bit if either before I went to sleep tonight, January 21st, Jesse Minter was announced the head coach, or when I wake up tomorrow morning, January 22nd, Jesse Minter is the head coach. Okay? Offensive coordinator, Davis Webb. A guy, again, that I believe is a young up-and-comer and would do a good job calling plays. And then Steve Klinkscale. Again, these are all my predictions. Klinkscale has been with Jesse Minter for a long time. They're together right here in Los Angeles. Minter would still be calling plays defensively most likely, but of course he'd want to bring somebody over that has a history with him and knows that defense as well. When it comes to Davis Webb, apparently the Baltimore Ravens were blown away by his interview. He was very, very impressed. They were very, very impressed. Now, I don't think impressed enough to give him a shot to be the head coach, but I do think impressed enough to say to Jesse Minter, look, we think he'd be a great offensive coordinator. We believe that this is a guy you should start with when it comes to you assembling your own staff. I think Lamar Jackson and him would have a really, really good repertoire. I believe that him and Lamar Jackson would have a lot of success together. But again, like I mentioned earlier, if they want to go a guy who's been established, who's called plays before in the National Football League, that would make a lot of sense to me. At the end of the day, what this search has boiled down to for me, I think it's been the most important thing to get a guy back in the building who would bring back the play like a Raven mentality. Passion, strength, character, courage, and intensity. Right? While imposing one's will on opponents with a nasty, tough, and determined style of play. Jesse Minter might not feel that way because he's a sharp-looking dude. He's a little soft-spoken. He's not brash. He's not loud. He doesn't come up there with this Robert Saleh-like intensity. But that doesn't mean that he doesn't know what he's doing. And that doesn't mean he doesn't preach and coach physicality. That's the number one thing I'm looking for. I think Minter would bring that back to Baltimore. Make sure you guys got me followed on socials because if it does happen, we'll have it on Twitter before we have it anywhere else. Make sure you are subscribed to the channel with those notifications on so that way if it does happen, we can get you guys locked in and loaded right here at the Ravens. All righty, we have got 7 minutes left until, or I guess 6 minutes now, until we are signing off. As of right now, nothing new has happened. But again, I would not be surprised if this did happen at some point before we do sign off. According to Diana Rossini, Lamar and receivers have been advocating for Cliff Kingsbury to run the offense, most likely in the offense coordinator role at this moment. Hey, man, I wouldn't mind Cliff Kingsbury as the OC. He wouldn't be my number one pick, but I wouldn't mind it at all. Yeah. How would you feel if he was the offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, Gage? What would your thoughts be?
I mean, I think with a talent like Lamar Jackson, he'll kind of like ride the coattails a little bit, but I will be okay with it. I'd rather have him as offensive coordinator than head coach, though. Yeah,
I mean, if he's head coach, that'd be the biggest mistake ever. But, like, offensive coordinator, I don't love his running philosophies.
That's the one thing that was kind of the argument with Ravens fans was with Todd Monken as well.
But, like, yeah, it's just like with Cliff, you're going to get a lot of read options, and Lamar Jackson's going to lead the team in carries. Which I think that'd be great if Lamar Jackson ran the ball a decent bit, but I don't think Lamar Jackson needs to lead this team in carries. But if what Diana Rossini says is correct, and Lamar Jackson, the receivers, want Cliff Kingsbury, then I wouldn't be mad, man. He's got a really creative offense, and he's been an offense coordinator before in this league. And if Jesse Minter's the guy, I believe that Cliff, would be able to help him navigate as a head coach. Cliff's been there before, a first-time head coach. So I don't think that would be, like, the worst thing at all.
Yeah, like, give him, to show him the ropes. But, like, the thing I'm concerned about with it is the running, like you said, the running game. So I'm mainly concerned with him is the fact that we had Ravens fans saw the struggle this past season with Derek Henry not getting enough touches in clutch moments. That's where I'm mainly concerned with if you get Cliff Kingsbury. But other than that, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Yeah, you're not wrong. What's up, Nash, man? Good to see you. Okay, we will be logging off in a couple of minutes. We were hoping we'd catch the news. We pushed our live show back 30 more minutes. Usually we're just live for an hour. We went live an hour and a half. On a typical day, we would have signed off about an hour ago. But we thought, you know what? Maybe, just maybe, if we push it back later, go a little bit longer, we will be able to catch the news. We did it. But hey, make sure you turn on those notifications, okay? I genuinely, if you're watching right now and there's about 150 people that are, First off, like the video. We're 9 likes away from 200 likes. Second off, check if your notifications are. How you make sure that you do have those notifications on, okay? I will walk you through it. It is simple. It is easy. Okay, I'm going to switch accounts out of this one, and I'm going to go into this live show. What you do is I'm going to unsubscribe, so that way I can walk you through it. You hit that subscribe button right under this video, okay? And then you turn those notifications on to all, and that's it. So that way, every single time we make a video, you guys can get notified about it. It is so important to have those notifications on right now during this head coach search, because I told you, the Jesse Minter news could happen any second. It could happen the second we get off live, okay? So make sure you got us locked in. All right, Gage, we're going to get on out of here. Appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. Dylan asks, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? Good question. We'll get to that first. Gage and myself will give you our picks. I think Super Bowl is going to be New England Patriots against the Seattle Seahawks. This time, I think the Seahawks get revenge from the goal line interception. I think the Seahawks are going to beat whoever comes out of the AFC. In fact, I think genuinely the Super Bowl is the NFC Championship game this weekend. Do you agree, Gage?
100%. I'd say that the Broncos, without having Bo Nix, is going to be a real problem for them.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Patriots kind of like coasted throughout the regular season and with a fourth place schedule to be where they are now, I think they're going to meet their maker in the Super Bowl.
Dude, the Seahawks are just so good at everything, bro.
There's like no weakness on that team. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, it's just like defensively they're great. On special teams they're great. Their offense is dynamic. And it's like, man, I know Ravens fans are kicking themselves because I know the big desire, the big want after the season of 2023 was over was fire John Harbaugh then and promote Mike McDonald. Obviously, that didn't happen. They wanted it to. Unfortunately, it didn't. And now Mike McDonald in year 2 is 60 minutes away from playing for a Super Bowl.
Something that John Harbaugh has yet to do in a while.
Yeah. So, hey, we're 3 likes away. Okay, 3 likes away from 200. Let's get there. Again, appreciate you guys for hanging out with us. It is 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. Gage and I are going to get out of here. The wife needs me home. And Gage's Xbox needs him home as well. All right, appreciate you guys again. Y'all have a great rest of your day. For Producer Gage, my name is Joey Petersen. God bless.